This is KSN News at 10.
The fiscal cliff is avoided. Tonight, the House votes to approve tax cuts for millions of American families to be extended. Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Bergman, and thanks for joining us on this first day of 2013. In Washington, the House has just voted. Here is a live look. They are voting to okay the Senate plan to roll back tax hikes on the middle class and increase taxes on the wealthy. Now, they needed 217 votes to pass that legislation. It appears they have just gotten that. For more, we get the latest from KSN's Steve Handelsman.
It was a struggle between Speaker John Boehner and more conservative Republicans like Paul Ryan and Eric Cantor, the House Republican leader who walked with the Speaker, but this afternoon opposed the fiscal cliff deal that Boehner tonight would allow to pass the House.
Is passed.
The Senate passed it this morning, 89-8, Democrats and Republicans cooperating, to reverse the tax hikes on 98% of Americans that took effect at the midnight fiscal cliff, but leave in place a tax hike on the wealthy, incomes over $400,000, and postpone deep spending cuts. Democrats pushed for House approval.
The issue of whether we have an up or down vote shouldn't even be a question.
But House Republicans battled, the Cantor faction demanding budget cuts be added to the bill.
It would let the Senate know that we're serious about cutting spending, though they're not.
Finally, time to count heads.
Yeah, we're going to whip and see where we are, and then we're going to vote.
The moderates won. A vote set on what the Senate passed. House passage all but assured.
We are working hard to pull ourselves back from that cliff. We went over the cliff, and we're pulling ourselves back.
But it's not a one-day quick fix. It's a sure sign that three big battles just ahead on spending and taxes will be bitterly fought. I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News, Capitol Hill.
That vote taking place within just the last couple of minutes. The decision over the fiscal cliff left many tax preparers in limbo and taxpayers wondering how it will affect their return. KSN's Michaela Lewis now continues our coverage.
It causes a certain uncertainty.
Fiscal cliff uncertainty has plagued both taxpayers and preparers, but there are a few things both can count on regardless of how the bill plays out.
The House will be in order.
Starting with the end of the payroll tax holiday on New Year's Eve.
So that's a 2% increase in your paycheck. For a person making about $40,000, that amounts to an additional $67 a month in a monthly, pay period.
Another guarantee, the alternative minimum tax that experts say could affect more than 34 million taxpayers because it was never adjusted for inflation.
If you have certain deductions, you can lose those deductions and end up having to pay the alternative minimum tax.
If the AMT patch isn't fixed, we know that tax filing season may start as late as March.
Tax return e-filing changed to January 22nd as of now, and experts say it's affecting those who need it most.
They use this money to help pay rent, to get caught up on bills.
As long as we don't go any further past that date of January 22nd, any time that you push it back, that hurts the economy.
Taxpayers will also have to wait longer for their refund once they actually can file. Experts say the IRS has announced that the refunds this year will take an average of 21 days, a week longer than what it has been in the past. Stephanie?
All right, thank you, Michaela. An income tax law also took effect in Kansas today. That means top individual income tax rates will drop to 4.9% from 6.45%. The owners of 191,000 businesses are exempt from income taxes. The changes are expected to cost our state about $4.5 billion over the next 6 years. The laws were approved by the legislature in May and signed by Governor Sam Brownback.